Hi, I'm Katie, and I'm a thru-hiker and a holistic nutritionist. And today I'm going to talk about a sample day of what I would eat on trail during a thru-hike and why I would eat what I would eat, why I would make those choices. Um, so before I dive into the specifics of what a day on trail of eating might look for me, I'll just give you a quick idea of how I think about food on trail and some of like the overarching principles that I use when I'm choosing what foods to take with me. So, my primary goals when I'm on a long distance hike or any endurance endeavor are to optimize my energy and to optimize my endurance. And I do this through food by maintaining consistent, stable blood sugar levels and also by trying to reduce inflammation in my body as much as possible so I can prevent that inflammation from accumulating and causing stress and damage on my body. And so a quick note on macronutrients also before we get into the specifics of the food. I think that everyone thrives on slightly different ratios, and I'm not going to give you one exact ratio that I think is best for everybody. But in general, most of your energy is going to come from fats and carbohydrates, and with very little need for having extra protein in your diet when you're doing something like a through hike. So I will usually eat between 10 and 20% of my calories as protein, and the remainder will be split up between fat and carbs. And when I say fat, I'm choosing healthy fats, so not trans fats. And I usually do a slightly higher amount of fats than carbs because I feel better that way. I have more consistent energy that way. But you might be different. So test different ratios. Pay attention to how you feel, pay attention to your energy levels, pay attention to how you're performing, just your body overall, and adjust accordingly. And then you'll be able to figure out how you feel best as well. So before I dive in, I'll also mention that all of the information that I'm about to talk about is also found on my website, katiegerber.com, and I have a free ebook there which you can download, and it goes into a lot more detail and gives more varieties for the things that I'm going to talk about today of what a sample diet would look like, and it kind of goes into those principles and why I make the choices that I do there as well. So I usually go stoveless, so the meals that I'm going to show you today are going to all be appropriate for anyone who wants to do the no cook method, but of course all these things you could use hot water too as well and could be cooked meals also. Yeah, so here's what a day looks like for me. I usually wake up, and first thing I do is drink a liter of water. So before I even go to food, I want to mention that it's important to start your day hydrated and to kind of get ahead of it for the day and make up for any water you may have lost overnight through perspiration and respiration. And then I usually get up and start walking, and then maybe eat and snack, or I'll sit down to have my breakfast. And the sample of breakfast that I brought today to show you is overnight oats. So this is the jar that I might use to soak things in. Even more preferable is like a shorter, wider mouth jar, like maybe a Talenti jar. This is just an old peanut butter jar. Either way, I'll put the oats in the night before. I'll fill it up just level with water to where the top of the oats are. I'll let it soak overnight, and then in the mornings I might add fruit or nuts to it. And the idea with my breakfast is that I want to have plenty of healthy fat in there as well as some protein in there. This one also has some carbs in it, but often my breakfast doesn't have a ton of carbs. I might do like a pea protein shake with chia seeds, things like that. So this is just oats, flaxseed, hemp hearts, chia seeds, cinnamon spice, and also ground ginger root spice. And those are spices that I choose not only because they taste good and they add extra flavor to the oats, but those are also anti-inflammatory as well. So those are good to get in there whenever you can sneak them into any of your meals, and breakfast is a great spot to do that. So then sometime mid-morning I'll probably have some type of bar, and again I'm going to go for something that has healthy fat and healthy protein in there. And the reason I'm doing this again is for stable blood sugar. So if I have a lot of sugar in the mornings, my insulin spikes, my blood sugar spikes, and then it crashes, maybe an hour later, and I'm hungry again for something sugary, something really carby, and I'm on that roller coaster all day long, and I don't like the feeling of it, and I find that my energy is not as consistent when I'm doing that as well. So Again, for my snack in the morning, I'll try and have something with healthy fats in it, as well as some protein. So this bar is like a grass-fed collagen bar. It has a lot of nuts and seeds, a lot of healthy fat in there, some protein. And then this is just like a grass-fed venison. So you could have some type of like grass-fed jerky, or if you're a vegetarian or vegan, again, you can have nuts and seeds are great options, maybe a little bit of fruit in there. But again, just make sure you're getting in the healthy fat and the protein to keep your blood sugar levels stable. Lunch or like a midday snack might be a variety of different things. The example that I brought today is some granola. So this one has a ton of seeds and nuts in there. It has chia, hemp hearts, flax seeds, sunflower, has some oats in there. Oh no, it doesn't have oats. Has coconut in there. But anyways, it's grain-free, gluten-free, soy-free, dairy-free, if those things matter. This one actually has cricket protein powder in here as well. But again, the idea is that there are some carbs in here, and there's plenty of healthy fat and protein in here. And I'll often have it with some kind of nut butter, like maybe one of these single-serve packets like this, peanut butter, almond butter, cashew butter, anything like that. Again, plenty of the healthy fat just to keep my blood sugar stable and to keep my energy levels sustained throughout the day. Other choices might be like making that into a wrap, or having like a tuna packet. Often I'll have like chips with my lunch, so something kind of crunchy, salty, some carbs in there as well. So usually my lunch is like a mix of carbs, protein, and fat. Yeah, and then I'll often have a couple afternoon snacks. One example of a common snack I'll have is a trail mix. So this one has walnuts, almonds, pumpkin seeds, and coconut. Often it will have dried fruit in there as well, at least a little bit. And usually I make my own. I just go into the bulk bin aisle and I'll choose a handful of things that look good and make my own. I'll often throw like sea salt or maybe some other kind of spices in there, depending on what flavors that I want for that resupply section. And then another option for an afternoon snack that I might have would be another bar, but probably more of like a fruit and nut based one this time, so more carbs as I'm getting later into the day, because I'm not as worried about like those blood sugar spikes and crashes. And if there's also protein and fat in it, like this one has, which is egg whites, peanuts, and sea salt and dates, then I'm not as worried about like the blood sugar swings. And usually at that time I will soak my dinner, and so the sample dinner that I brought to show you today is refried beans, and so I'll start soaking those. I'll often add some type of spice to it, whether it's like sea salt, turmeric powder, cumin powder, just anything to add a little bit of flavor, maybe like something spicy in there as well. I'll soak that in my jar, and then when I'm ready to eat, you know, an hour, a couple hours later, I'll try and add in some sort of greens. So if I'm the first day out of town, I'll choose something fresh. So this is just a fresh bag of greens. If I'm, you know, a few days out of town, I'll make sure that I also have dried veggies with me. But it's really important for me to get vegetables in at some point in my day, whether it's a greens powder in the morning with my smoothie, or even mixed into my oats, or whether it's veggies at night, or ideally both. It's important for us to make up for the micronutrient deficiencies that might start accumulate on a long distance hike because we're not having fresh food as often. And then, so in addition to the beans, I'll also usually have chips again. And when I choose chips, I'm ideally choosing ones that have 5 ingredients or less, ideally organic, and just not like the super processed ones. So I'm not talking about Doritos, which have like 47 ingredients. Something simple like corn chips, which really are only going to be like corn, maybe lime, sea salt, and possibly like an oil cooked in, but ideally not any of like the processed vegetables, oils, or anything like that. Or sweet potato chips that are just cooked in like coconut oil, and they have sea salt and the sweet potatoes, and that's it. And then I'll also add to my dinner usually healthy fat, either olive oil or like a coconut oil packet like this, and that'll keep me satiated throughout the night. And I'm usually eating a little bit more carbs at night because those are going to help replenish glycogen. They're also going to help me sleep better throughout the night. And then for dessert, I might have something like a dark chocolate bar, so usually like 85% cacao or more. Lots of great antioxidants in there. And that's usually what a day of eating looks like for me. And again, there's a lot of like variations on this, and I go into a lot more detail about different ideas of what you could eat and just really simple, inexpensive, lightweight, but calorie dense options. And you can find that in my ebook at katiegerber.com. So thanks for watching, and I hope this was helpful.